There are different manufacturers of tampons, and they come in different wrappings, and it is your choice which one you choose, going to your budget, your availability in the market there, your preference for the type of holder. We just opened a few over here so you can really see what they are. The traditional plastic applicator. This is a clear one, and you can see how the tampon sits inside the cylinder. This is the holder. This is the string that does not tear. And some of them will have a knot in the string, so you can easily find it versus pulling on your hair. And some will not, but you will learn how to use them. Some on the market are the compacts, so they come in a smaller wrapping than the full-size applicator here. What you have to do is you have to pull out the plunger and then pull until it clicks. Hope you heard the click. And then it's a full-size tampon applicator. There is also the OB, which have no applicators, and they're very common outside of the United States, and some people in the United States will use them too. What you have to do with it is, first the trick of how to undo that. The easiest way to do is you just twist them a little bit, and then you find the opening where it unwraps. And then you take the plastic off. You don't want any piece of plastic on it, of course, and you take the plastic from the top off, and the plastic from the bottom off. Let's get rid of that. And then you undo the string, and then we're going to come back to how you put that in. But this is like a raw tampon that's not in an applicator. Tampon comes in different sizes, not to suit the vaginal size, but rather the flow of the period, from light or junior to regulars to supers to super plus, depends how you need to use the tampon. An average time to use a tampon is about 2 to 4 hours. On heavy days, if you're a heavy bleeder, you may have to change it every hour, but you just figure out what you need to do. If you're down to the end of your period or you're super light and you barely even bleed and one tampon will last you a whole day, then it's your choice if you just go with a liner. As to the absorbency of the tampon, let's do a little demo. I have a cup of water over here, and I'm going to dip this tampon in the water, and I'm going to take it out. And a few notes about that. You could all see it dripping. You saw it opening up with the string that's attached to it, and I am pulling on that string very, very hard. It does not tear. You all look at this now and you say, oh my gosh, this thing is going to be like this in my vagina. No, it will not. It will retain the vaginal shape. It will just be filled up with blood. Now, how much water did it absorb? Take a look. There is quite a bit of blood to be had in there. So we have 3 tampons over here, and let's do a little bit more of a demo. This one has a knot in it again, and you can really see the tampon in the cylinder. This one does not have a knot, and this one is the OB that has a knot but has no applicator. So how do we put a tampon in? We take it out of a wrapper. Here's another one that was still wrapped. We take it out of a wrapper, and you can keep the wrapper intact so you can put the bloody applicator back in it if you're in a public bathroom or even in your own house. That is your choice, right? So that there is a use for most wrappers, not all of them. Some of them fall apart completely. You hold the tampon with your thumb and your middle finger. The index finger is going to be the pusher. And then say this is your vagina. You're going to slide the tampon in until you can barely hang on to it at the opening of the vagina. Now, hold it steady there as you're going to push the plunger into this part. And as you push it, the tampon reveals itself into the vagina. And now, before you take the plastics out, give them an extra push into the vagina. Nothing will get lost there, not to worry. And this will pop the tampon right up into location where it has to be. And then you put your fingers in and you just pull the plastics out. Make sure 2 pieces came out. And now you have a tampon sitting in your vagina. You put the string in the right or the left groin where you want to be discreet, and the string does not tear. You pull on it, obviously, the tampon will come out. Why did we give it an extra push up? Because a faulty tampon is one that sits too close to the opening, say over here, and then you're going to sit in your chair or somewhere in your car and you feel like you're sitting on a pencil edge. So the trick of a tampon is threefold. One, you put the plunger in. Two, you eject the tampon in. Three, you give it that extra push in, and then you have a tampon in place. But there are more tips to it, and here I would like to give you. Unless you have gone swimming or you're on a very heavy day when the tampon is going to come out so soaked, it'll just slide out without any friction, you may find that pulling the tampon out will be a little tuggy or even a little irritating. So here is when the lubrication comes to the rescue. First of all, you're going to take a small container. Get yourself any container. This is about the size, so you can compare it with my hand. It's a small little container. In the old days, we used to use a film can, but you can use any travel container that you wish. And then what you're going to do, you're going to take the lubrication of your choice. Let me put this down for a moment. You're going to take the lubrication of your choice. We like to use KY jelly. It has a good consistency, but you don't have to. And then you're going to pour quite a bit of it into the container. It's all washable. Lubrication is water soluble, and you can clean up the container very well. And now, how will this trick be helping with a tampon? Here goes. Let's take another tampon now. We hold the fingers. We know how to position the tampon. We dip the tip of the tampon into the lube, however you need. Do not exaggerate, but however much you need. And then we bring it by the vagina. It's going to slide in beautifully. Hang on to it. Eject the tampon. Give it the extra push in. Remove the plastic. 2 pieces to come out. And now you have a tampon that's set in very nicely. String where it goes, you know what to do. Now you go about your day. 2 to 4 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever is your style, and you're about to take the tampon out, and you are about to pull it out, but it feels that tuggy, friction, difficult to come out. Let's use that little trick again. This time, dip your clean finger into the container, put some lube on your finger, stick the finger in, nothing will happen to the tampon there, and then glide it on the lube you just put in. And it's going to come out nice and smooth without that resistance. And now we're going to go to the OB. Remember, this is the one that has no applicator, so we have to function as the applicator. So we unwrap it as we showed earlier. Now you hold it with the 2 fingers and you put your index finger over here as the pusher. Of course, you unravel the string. And now you dip it in the lube if you need. Now you're going to do the 3 steps of putting the tampon in. Sliding it in as if it's the cylinder going in. And then pushing more as you eject it with the pusher. And then further in with your finger to give it an extra tug up. So it'll be all the way in, and then you put your finger out. So yes, you have to be pretty friendly with your finger, but that's a good thing because you have to manage your vagina. Of course, you can use it with a lubrication trick, as we said before. And then to take it out, with or without lube, the same idea. So how do we carry all the tampon supply? We came up with a little bag that we give our patients, different designs. We picked this one for today. And in it you put your various tampons. You put in here also that little container with your lube. And you also would like to put in it, especially as a beginner user, a liner. Why would you need a liner? We're trying to stay away from anything like this. The concept is that as a beginner user of a tampon, until you really get the rhythm of how often you have to change the tampon, you would like a liner just in case there'll be some drippage onto the string. It's going to come on the liner, not on your underwear or your clothing, whatever you wear. And then you can just zip it up, put it in your bag, and you have a tampon kit to go. Of course, this is your choice, just what we do with our ladies over here.